Welcome to On Deck with DeRo and Arch. I am Eric DeRosset along with Darren Archer. This is the first full week of June, and so summer is here, and the summer sports, and I include sort of the NBA championship almost as a summer sport anymore. But Major League Baseball is a month, probably 6 weeks from its midpoint. NBA championship is going on right now at this time. High school baseball in Missouri is finishing like literally as we speak. Games going on today at the time of this recording. So a lot of good sports stuff. Darren, good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you. And we've also got to include there the NHL
Yes.
championships being played between Las Vegas and Carolina. And obviously, the World Cup is getting ready to start here within the next week or so. Kansas City is one of the host cities, and
Yep.
should be a good time for all the soccer fans across the state to be able to watch some good soccer. And I want to say that the games span over a month and a half, I think, is from start to finish. So if you're a soccer fan, you've got a lot to look forward to here in the next month.
Well, and nothing like some cold weather cities in the NHL championship game with Las Vegas and Carolina. So, uh,
Right.
not your typical Canadian Minnesota type hockey going on there, but that's cool for both those geographic areas to have good hockey teams going right now. So, hey, I'm going to start with something that I just mentioned last week, and I wanted to. I actually got it right, but I sort of left some questions in the air on it. I mentioned Nolan Ryan last week in his seven no hitters, and he also accompanied his seven no hitters with 12 one hitters. And then I went on to say that I didn't think he ever won a Cy Young over his 25 plus year career. And that was indeed correct. Nolan Ryan was never a Cy Young winner. Um, Closest he came was in 1973. He won, get this, he won 21 games, had a 2.87 ERA, and threw two no hitters that season and was not Cy Young that year. So, and Darren, I think you actually looked it up and told me who was the Cy Young winner that year.
Yeah, it was Jim Palmer. He
Palmer.
went 22-9 that year, and went on to be a Hall of Fame type pitcher for
Yeah.
sure.
Nolan Ryan actually that year had 16 losses. So he went 21 and 16. He had 37 decisions in that season, which is unheard of in this day and time. But anyway, no Cy Youngs for Nolan Ryan. Hard to believe. But anyway, I just sort of wanted to take time to clear that up and make sure I didn't lead people astray on that one. Darren, I've got one here that I kind of like. I'm going to throw this at you. I'm going to give you, let's say, three guesses on this one. Okay. Here's the scenario. We're going to talking Division One athletics. Okay, so what is that? 300 some schools, Division One level right now, I believe. Um, in the five following sports, this university finished in the top 16 in each of those sports. There's only one school that did it in America. Okay, so top 16 in the five following sports: football, men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball, and softball. Again, one team in America finished in the top 16 in all five of those. And hey, I'm this is purely a guess on your part. I mean, you would have
Right.
no educated way, but I mean, you're just using some inferences and trying to figure it out. But any guesses? I'll give you three.
Texas. Um, I'm gonna go Texas Tech, and UCLA.
Ooh, you were one of those is correct.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, University of Texas.
Okay. Yeah.
Good work.
Yeah.
Good work. And in fact, they finished out of 17 major athletic programs, they finished in the top 16 and 15 out of 17 areas. So if there was an overall sports award, like some of the conferences, high school conferences in Southwest Missouri have a all sports uh, plaque that goes to the school that represented the best overall in athletics. So if that were given at the Division I level, and who knows, it may be, but University of Texas would be your winner there. So hey, good
And
work right there. I didn't even set you up on that. So
even a blind hog finds an acorn every now and then, buddy.
yep, that's why you and I are on here doing this probably. So
Exactly.
um, anyway, good work. Hey, this is gonna sound a little LeBron hate-ish right here. I'm not hating on LeBron. Seems like every show I have a LeBron stat and then I turn around and say I'm not hating on LeBron. So maybe maybe I am. I don't know. Um, so I took a stat that I saw and then I sort of added some things to it, but this is legit. Michael Jordan could unretire and then lose the next 8 finals championship series and still have a better finals winning percentage than LeBron James does. So Michael could come out of retirement, lose 8 straight, and his finals winning percentage would still slightly be better than LeBron's. At that point, Michael would be 6-8, LeBron would be 4-6. Thoughts?
And even being in the mid 60s, he's still going to find a way to win one of those by hook or by
yeah,
crook. I mean, that's
yeah,
just the way he's wired. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah, yeah,
yeah, that's incredible.
yeah.
It makes you go back and think. Um, gosh, when he took the break to uh, go give Major League Baseball a shot, probably in the prime of his career, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, it just makes you think back. I think any of the GOAT conversation between he and LeBron, I think that's dead and buried if he doesn't take that hiatus to get
Mm,
away from basketball and
interesting.
goes and plays baseball. Um, I just I look back at that era and it's hard for me to justify um, or I guess not really justify. It's hard for me to give an accurate description of how good he actually was. To say my kids, that
Yes.
didn't really get a chance to see him play and realize the impact that he had, not just on the game, but I mean, he had the world in his fingertips uh, during that time. It seemed like everything that he touched turned to gold. Um, and uh, I'm biased. I don't hate LeBron. And I
Sure.
think you're saying the same thing. LeBron is great in his own right. Um, it's just somebody our age tend to lean pretty heavily towards the whole GOAT conversation being Michael Jordan. But um, that's interesting stat.
Yeah, and I think what you're sort of going with there is that Michael Jordan was more mainstream in all walks of life, like than I don't know. I would say anybody ever. Maybe that's a stretch, but like even people, families, and individuals that that had no connection to basketball, no connection to sports, could care less. They understood the magnitude of what sort of socially Michael Jordan was in that area. Like, and so that's I'm speaking to your point there that generationally this group they don't understand his impact across the board, and he changed he changed everything. You know, shoe culture and clothing choices, and he was a megastar all over the world. I mean, he kind of had that Elvis, Michael Jackson sort of effect that even if you didn't like what they did, you knew it was brilliant. You knew it was on another level. And I just don't see that from today's players, maybe in any sport. Otani,
Ish,
maybe,
ish.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe getting in that realm. But for sure, NBA guys, I don't necessarily. As good as LeBron is, he just doesn't have the same impact as what Michael had.
Right.
Do you
And
attribute that to winning? Like, do you just attribute to the fact that he was just that good of a winner, or were there just other things to go along with it?
I think that was part of it. Um, the whole marketing plan around him was genius. I mean, you think about the world with in our world, the most popular sport in the world is soccer,
Mm.
and he was Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi type.
Yes.
I mean, that's the impact that he had. Um, and those are
Beckham would fall into that probably.
yeah, Beckham.
Yes.
You know, just with having seeing jerseys throughout the world, the shoes, um, kids playing with their tongue hanging out, and know,
Yeah.
just he had that type of impact. It was not. It was worldwide,
Yeah.
even to locales that um, probably didn't have a professional basketball league in their
Yeah.
country.
Yeah. Yeah. Just different level, and I think it's a little interesting to. I sort of think the Fab Five was sort of tied into that a little bit too, because they were in that area, and the
Yep.
Fab Five sort of had this mystique and this brand, Black Sox and their own look, and they sort of like the rebel image, but they
Sure.
did it in such a mainstream way that it appealed to across the board. So, and maybe it was just a time in our world and our country that allowed for those things to happen for Jordan and the Fab Five. But I just don't see any athlete necessarily that has that same sort of touch right now, that same sort of culture changer like Jordan.
Yeah, agreed. And what's even more amazing is this is a time period before social media. We
Yeah,
didn't have instant access to news and sports stories and things like that like we do now 24/7 at
yeah,
right there at our fingertips. So pretty amazing, um, the influence that he had, not just in the game of basketball, but in the world in general.
yeah. And I actually saw a quote. I didn't intend to share this, but I saw parts of an interview with Magic Johnson over the past week, and I'd heard this before. But Nike, when he came out, he obviously was a Converse guy. In
Mhm.
the end, Magic Johnson was, but Nike offered him way less money than what Converse offered him, but they offered him stocks in exchange for that. And he told, I don't even remember what the number was, but he took the Converse deal, took the money now, and he told what he lost by not taking the Nike deal and the shares of stock. So uh, just interesting times, that whole era, basketball. And hey, this I am going to be super upfront about. I just like that era of basketball better. It
Absolutely.
just
Yeah.
better. And maybe I'm wrong. I'm not saying I'm even right on that, but I, very nostalgic. And we've mentioned it before: Knicks and Pacers and Reggie Miller, and those Michael Jordan, Reggie Miller, Bulls Pacers matchups were phenomenal. And then the Knicks Bulls were that one was phenomenal. I mean, you just go down the list, and every series seemed like a heavyweight battle. So, uh,
Absolutely.
and it was in that day and time really East heavy. The East sort of had the big dogs, and the West
Right.
was kind of, and that role is obviously switched now. But anyway, back to the original stat. Yeah, Jordan could lose 8 straight and still have a better finals winning percentage than LeBron. So, viewers,
Michael,
I'm gonna
I'm gonna be the first to call you out. Let's do this. You can get one
yeah,
of those.
I would love that. Man, that would be great. That'd be great. Uh, Sort of staying on the money theme, I'm going to switch from NBA to NFL. Uh, I saw this week where NFL practice squad players, that minimum flat rate minimum is $234,000 for the entire season. So if you are an NFL practice player and you last all 18 weeks, your salary is 234,000. It works out to 13,000 a week. I think those guys are actually paid weekly, if I'm not mistaken. So they get weekly checks for 18 weeks. It comes out to $13,000 a week. That's about what I made teaching school this past year.
Absolutely.
Um, similar. Yes. But the interesting part of that is I saw Tom Brady, this was a while back. It wasn't recent, but he was sort of talking about practice squad players, and how there were some really talented guys there, guys that could play on Sunday, had the physical attributes, speed and strength, and all those things, skill set to play on Sundays. The interesting thing he said was that some of those guys were just content. I'll use the word content, just to be on the practice squad, and they were super valuable. They did their job and they did it well. But some of those guys just did not want sort of the spotlight and the expectations of 70,000 people on a Sunday. And so they just sort of kept their skills and stayed on the practice squad and made their 13,000 a week, and were very happy doing so. I found that really interesting.
That is. That's a pretty good payday to be on a practice squad.
Yeah.
Uh, there may be a future for us. I think I can avoid being hit for at least 7 weeks. And half of that, I'd take half of that and be perfectly content. You
Yeah.
can knock my head off my shoulders that eighth week. Uh, just give me that first half, and
Yep.
I'll take one for the team at that point.
Yeah, 117,000. It's not bad, right? Over the
Yeah,
first half, get you
yeah.
117,000. That's not bad. Not bad.
I'd go talk to the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think they can use you.
Oh yeah,
I love your skill set. I mean, I think it's
absolutely.
highly
Oh,
underrated. So,
all the hands. Got
yes,
the
yeah.
hands.
I think you're a scout team tight end, man. I think
Right.
that's what you got, scout team tight end written all over you. So
All over me. You bet.
anyway, 234,000 to be a practice squad player in the NFL for a season.
Not
So
too shabby.
not bad. Not bad. Um, Sort of going back again, visiting a point that we talked about last week. We were talking about batting averages last week, and I was kind of going off the cuff again. But one of the things that I sort of said, and you sort of echoed it, was that uh, in Major League Baseball, it sort of seemed like that maybe that hitting 280 in a season was sort of yesteryear's equivalent of 300. Uh, we didn't back that up with any metrics or data or anything like that. This is kind of where we were at, and I threw that out there, and I felt like you sort of echoed that and said, "Hey, yeah, that's probably about right." I did go back and look. Last year in the major leagues, they had 7 batters total, both leagues. They hit 300 or more. So I didn't compare that to you know to seasons of that have gone by. My guess is my guess is in the 70s, 80s, and even 90s, there was a lot more than 7, guys hitting over 300. So what I did is I sort of took that further. If batters hit 400 now, that would be astounding. For all the reasons that we talked about last week. Velocity of pitchers is better. You see more guys. I saw a stat as well that Joe DiMaggio, during his 56 game hitting streak, he saw a total of 55 pitchers.
Wow.
I don't know how many pitchers guys would see now, over 56 games.
Triple that.
It'd be a lot, wouldn't it?
It would be a lot.
And so that's
Yes.
one of the things they sort of attributed possibly the success of his hitting streak was he was seeing guys,
Right.
same guys, potentially over and over. Uh, what people don't know, and I'm truly going off the cuff here, but he actually DiMaggio actually went hitless in game 57 and then come back and hit in like 7 or 8 straight after that. So
Yeah.
he was above 60 games hit streak without the one game. So anyway, where I was going with this originally was, and I'm gonna let you chime in. Uh, since 1940, I was sort of using 400 as this benchmark that will not be reached any longer, in my opinion. I don't know
Yeah.
if
Agreed.
guys ever hit 400 again. So highest batting average by a player in in any 162 game span in their career. So they could start it in July and finish it in June to get their 162. It's not a season. It's not all in one season. So 162 games, highest batting average, top 10 since 1940. Ted Williams had a stretch of 162 where he hit 409. No surprise there.
Right.
Tony Gwynn had a stretch of 162 games where he hit 402. Wade Boggs, 401. Rod Carew, 399. Todd Helton, 396. Larry Walker, 392. Nomar Garciaparra had a 389 stretch. Ichiro had a 389 stretch. Stan the Man Musial, 383. And Hank Aaron, 381. So I guess I'll start. Any surprises in that group of 10 or any commentary on any of those 10?
I guess I'm not really surprised by Helton.
Yeah.
That would not be a name that I would guess, but since you've said it, yeah, I could see that.
Sure.
You know, he was steady Eddie
He was.
at the
And
plate for Colorado.
his
Yeah,
ballpark was, set up for success for a hitter.
sure, absolutely. Larry Walker kind of
Yeah.
jumps out at me. I would have never thought,
Yeah.
but here again, I can kind of see that. I'm a little surprised that Pete Rose is not on that list.
Yeah.
Trying to think of other people. Can you think of other people that are not on that list that you would think, I would have expected this person to be on there?
I thought perhaps George Brett,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
he had a season where he hit 390 for an entire season. So I
mhm,
would have thought that maybe the wraparound, either the season before or the season after, that maybe he would have touched 400. Um,
right.
the the one in that top 10, it doesn't surprise me in the fact he's a huge name in baseball, but the fact that Hank Aaron, with
Yeah,
his power numbers,
right.
hit 381 over 162 games. Uh, that guy was ridiculous during that. He had to be untouchable in that phase of his
Yeah,
career because he was swinging a big stick and hitting home runs and driving people home. Plus, he was on base 38 out of 100 times.
yeah,
I, I would like to know what his power stats would have been in that stretch. He had to, without a doubt, be the best player in baseball during that time.
absolutely.
I don't think there's anybody else that would have touched it. But yeah, I think George Brett probably would be my first one
Yeah,
that would come to mind. Actually, Nomar Garciaparra, I think he was a great player in his own right. I think you could have given me 50 guesses, and I don't think I would have
yeah,
thrown Garciaparra in the mix.
same. Yeah,
I think we all would have had Musial and Ichiro
mhm,
and Boggs and Gwen and I mean Carew for sure.
yeah,
And you and I would have thrown Brett and Pete Rose probably in that conversation, but no more Garcia Parr probably wouldn't have been it. So
agreed.
anyway, I would say 350 is the new 400. That's kind of where I'm going with right now. So or 350 is yesteryear's 400. Um,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to hit a ton right now to hit 350 over 162 games. Switching it up, NBA basketball, NBA championship finals championship series is with us. We're recording this game on or this show on a Thursday. Game one was last night, Wednesday, and that game was in San Antonio. And the Knicks took game one, and that gives them 12 straight wins in the playoffs, I believe, and have not lost a game since April the 23rd. Um, and I'm going to start here with you. Um, you kind of like last week. You were pretty assertive in your assessment that the Knicks were for real. Turns out you were spot on.
Yeah, I like their makeup, and they have those two bigs that can go in and um, physically match up with Wemby.
Yeah.
And um, I just I think you and I were texting yesterday in the first half, and it
Yeah.
was just ugly basketball. You could tell the nerves were there.
Yeah.
Shots were not falling, and I once both teams kind of settled in midway through that third quarter, I think that's more of what we're going to see down the line
Mhm.
throughout the rest of the series. Um, but Jalen Brunson finally threw the team on his back and said, "Let's go." And I think they were kind of waiting for him to do that. Wemby's having trouble guarding out on the perimeter,
I agree.
and New York's done a good job of pulling him out and making him guard on the perimeter. And it's a tough matchup defensively for him. Um, I just uh, I just really like New York's makeup, and hey, they put the pressure squarely on San Antonio. It all tomorrow or tonight, as your viewers as you're watching this,
Right.
um, it almost feels like a must win for San Antonio.
Does.
Um, their backs are already up against the wall, and they need to hold serve tonight.
Well, and your point being, San Antonio essentially forfeited their home court advantage when they
Yeah,
lost game one at their own place. The home court advantage is out the window essentially at this point. It's even up from here on out. Um,
exactly.
and so, yeah, that they really needed a game one win at home. Um, a couple things and I saw this today, and I think you may have already answered it with your size. Uh, the comments that I saw, and I don't even know who it was from, was this person really thought that Wemby should spend more time closer to the basket, and they should look to like isolate him and throw over the top and let him do that and spend less time as what we kind of view as a big man trailer who catches it and either reverses it or tries to score it himself. Does New York's big just sort of keep that from happening, or is that just not San Antonio's way?
Well, I think the combination of Carl Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson um, on defense for New York neutralizes a lot of what Wembanyama can do around the basket. They're
Yeah,
not letting him get very deep and get comfortable to where, if you remember in the Oklahoma City series, San Antonio would just kind of throw it up around the rim,
yeah,
and Wemby would just go get it. You know, uh, Oklahoma City didn't really have any way to stop that, but the combination of those two, um, much more physical, match up size wise, a little better. You're never going to match up size wise with Wimby, but a little closer to being able to do that. And Carl Anthony Towns, like I said, he's pulled him out on defense. And last night, he just kind of had his way getting to the basket. Um, just by pulling him out, getting him out on the perimeter, making him have to guard.
I am anxious to see what San Antonio's adjustments will be because what you said earlier, I think is spot on. I think what happened in let's say the second half of the third quarter and all of the fourth is the Knicks way. Like
Oh
that's the
yeah.
way they're doing it. And I did not feel like San Antonio, like that did not set well with them. I not only did they lose the game during that time, but I just had this sense of uneasiness about San Antonio. I think they were really uncomfortable. Um, what what's what is San Antonio's counter at this point, or do they have one?
I think they've got to slow the pace down a little bit.
Yeah,
Um, Even when the score was low and both teams were not hitting basket, the game was being played at a frantic pace.
yeah,
Um, and I think one way to combat as far as offensively for San Antonio is use Wimby as that high ball screen or even as a second high ball screener and force that switch and
yeah,
force them to have to help because San Antonio has plenty of guys that can shoot it from the outside. Um, so that's one thing that I felt like didn't really take advantage of, and using Wimby as a high ball screener, either as a primary or secondary screener, and just forcing that switch out on the perimeter, um, and going from there.
yeah. I agree. And I do think they have to do something. I think San
Yes.
Antonio's at a spot. They can't just play the game the way it was played in the last 30% or 40% of that game. Like that
Yeah. Agreed.
they may lose 4-1 or four to
Hmm.
two or something like that. They just didn't seem to thrive there. Um, Young coach at San Antonio who's been around the game all of his life. His dad's an NBA former NBA player, so I'm certainly not second guessing him, but probably his tallest test to this
Oh yeah.
point in terms of, hey, what do we do here? And he's got a lot of smart people around him, so it's not going to be just him. But as a group, I think San Antonio's their coaching staff's got to figure out, okay, how do we keep it from getting to what it was at the end in terms of
And
style?
I think they have proven they can do that in the Oklahoma City series.
Agree.
There were a couple times there when San Antonio looked like they were kind of left dead in the water um, if they went forward the way that they had just lost, and they always seem to make the right adjustments. And um, it's all about matchups, and I just think the New York Knicks match up a lot better with San Antonio than anybody that they've seen up to this point in the playoffs.
Agree. And here's the last NBA Finals question I'm going to ask you. And this is a big one, so I need you to get ready for this. Uh, you and Mitchell Robinson each shoot 100 free throws, or 100 free throws apiece. How many made free throws do you? How many more makes do you have than he does out of 100?
Oh gosh,
Or do you?
probably I better.
What's he going to make? 39. Numbers would say he would make 39 out of
Maybe,
100.
maybe.
Are you going to make?
I don't,
Are you going to make more than 39 out of
buddy.
100?
I don't have to run. I'd be all right shooting free throws. The layups may get me just because of the physical activity involved, but
Right.
uh, yeah, I would certainly hope that I would hit about 30 more than 40 more than
Hey,
what he
good.
did.
I like it. I like it. Well, I'll see if I can get a hold of him after the season, and
You
maybe we'll
betcha.
we'll set that up at Bolivar High School or SBU or somewhere and see how that works out.
He needs a visit with the good old shot doctors, DeRo and Arch.
That's right.
Just needs to come spend the rest of the summer with us.
That's
He'll be
right.
shooting at least 50% by next season.
Yeah. Hey, and the Knicks can float us some cash to, pay us a little bit, and we'd be happy
Just
to
hey,
fix him, right?
they can put us on the practice squad and pay us the football minimum or
Hey.
flatline cost.
Yeah.
And we'll have him, like I said, 7 weeks, man. We'll have him fixed. Show us the money.
Yep.
Job done.
If there's any Knicks personnel out there that happens to listen to On Deck with DeRo and Arch, challenge issued. We're putting it out there. We'd love to help Mitchell Robinson's with the free throws here. So, and we're not saying we know it all. We're not saying we know it more than anybody else, but we'd sure give it a whirl. So, Knicks, give us a call when you can. One more NBA note. I started this last week, and I think it's appropriate since Oklahoma City was eliminated from the playoffs. Their general manager is Sam Presti. And if you don't follow NBA all that closely, this guy, his story's phenomenal. I'll go through it really quickly, and not get too detailed, but give you enough to give you an understanding of who this guy is. Uh, Played college basketball, lower level uh, college basketball. Actually, transferred from one school to the next. I think both these schools were in Virginia at the time. Um, Transferred from one college to the other because the one he transferred to, which I think was Virginia Wesleyan at the time, had a better music program. Pesty was really involved in jazz music and those kind of things. So he played basketball and was a musician on the side. Uh, Graduated from college with a degree in communications law and politics. Okay. Um, he actually, in that era, I don't know the exact time frame, but he formally released two jazz albums. And on one of these jazz albums, he actually sort of raps in the middle of this jazz song, and sort of has this jazz rap combo vibe going on. Dying to hear it. I'm going to check it out at some point. Um, from there, he gets an internship with the Spurs in the Popovich era regime. Um, Sort of moves up the ladder with the Spurs, pushes the Spurs hard to draft Tony Parker. He was the biggest voice uh, pushing for Parker. And actually, Tony Parker, even today, credits Sam Presti for believing in him and getting him drafted. Presti went on to draft Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden. He traded Paul George for some guy who goes by the initials of SGA that we've heard of a little bit lately. He's responsible for Jalen Williams, Lou Dort. The list just goes on and on. Sam Presti took his first GM job at age 30. The Thunder were still the Sonics at that time, Supersonics, Seattle. And he was hired as the GM and then sort of transitioned with them when they went to Oklahoma City. So Sam Presti, by all accounts, is the leading GM in NBA right now.
Oh, I agree. I think you'd be hard pressed over the duration of last 10 or 15 years to find anybody better and more consistent than Oklahoma City. Um, gosh, everything he's touched has turned to gold, it sounds like. And uh, uh, like I said, proof's in the pudding with some of the moves that they've made, the draft stock that they've been able to put together. And they're not going anywhere anytime soon. This year may have served as some motivation in the offseason for them to get back to hoisting that trophy a year from now. And I'd say that's going to be a very determined group. But you mentioned Williams; they did it without him.
Yeah.
You know, that's a huge, huge piece missing.
Yes.
Um, and I'm pretty sure Williams did a better job than Chet Holmgren, and Holmgren was playing. So
Yeah.
he's the guy I think that's kind of their X factor, Holmgren.
Hmm.
And he just kind of went away and disappeared in that San Antonio series. And they're going to have him step up um, to get
Yeah.
back to where they want to be.
And it did feel like that in that Oklahoma City series with the Spurs, it truly felt like they were lacking another guy. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, they needed one more guy, and
right.
they have the guy. He wasn't healthy, but
Yeah,
yeah, probably I don't know if the result would have been any different. Hard to say, but that series would have been a lot different
agree.
if he's there. So I just sort of wanted to touch on the Sam Presti story. Uh, Obviously, the guy must. I would love to sit down and talk to him. He must be just absolutely brilliant
Yeah,
in terms of a talented musician, communications law and politics. He's 30-year-old general manager in the NBA, and goes on to probably the best, like you said, 15-year stretch of any GM currently. I did see a thing when he was like age 16. He was a huge Celtics fan, lived in the Celtics area or in the Boston area, and sent a letter to the Boston Globe urging them to draft some guy out of the University of California named Jason Kidd. He truly believed that Jason Kidd was going to be a legitimate NBA player and could have turned the Celtics around. So even at age 16, he had a vision for what he thought NBA success looked like. And so I would love to one, I'd like to be as smart as he is. Apparently, neither one of us probably have that going for us. And then secondly, just sort of his path and how, you know, organizationally, how does he go about his work? Because those GMs, we sort of think about our own teams day by day, right? So you're watching the Cubs, and for the most part, you just want them to be good today, right? And then be good tomorrow. And you want
Right.
them to just stack days on top of each other. Well, GMs don't have it that way. They've got salary issues and contracts and all those things. And so he would be great to visit with, and he's truly one of the best. So I just happened to read that story, and I want to throw out some information about Bob Presti. If you get a chance, check out his jazz album, and somebody shoot us a line. Let us know how his jazz rap album is, and maybe I'll try to find it before next week and fill you guys in. Moving on, Major League Baseball just hit some highlights here. Braves continue to play at a blistering pace. They are 42-20 as of today. They are 9.5 games ahead of Philadelphia in the East. Uh, Making some noise, in my opinion, to challenge the Dodgers. I think this may be the Dodgers may have their hands full if Atlanta continues to stay healthy. It'll be interesting to see if they add a piece at the trade deadline, what that looks like. They're really good. They're really, really good. They are 9.5 games ahead of Philly, and so first place is theirs to lose in that division. In the Central, the Brewers are starting to get separation. You and I have talked about the NL Central a lot, and hey, now they're at 37 wins, and the gap is now 5 games over second place St. Louis. The Brewers are kind of doing Brewers things. We talked about that. Dodgers are ruling the East. Tug of war between the Diamondbacks and San Diego for second. I'm going to backtrack. Braves, can they give the Dodgers a run this year in the National League?
Oh, if they stay healthy, absolutely. Um, and like you said, it'll be interesting to see what they can do, adding on a piece or two here or there. And at the trade deadline, I just really like Walt Weiss as a manager.
Mm,
You
yeah,
know, um, I think he has the. I mean, it's obvious he has respect to the clubhouse, and um, he's been there, done that as a player, and I think that he's been in those trenches before. He's been on the other side before, and I think that they're just kind of playing loose and free, and it shows in the way that they're playing. You can tell that whole group's having fun, and um, they're doing it without probably, arguably, one of their best hitters in Drake Baldwin, who's a Missouri State grad. They're going to be even better when he gets healthy. So, yeah, sky's the limit. I think that they are going to be LA's kryptonite. They just got to stay healthy, number one. Their pitching's been awfully, awfully good, and they
yeah,
just score runs. I mean, they'll put. It's not unusual for them to put up 6, 7, 8 runs a game.
yeah. The Reds played them a few days ago in a 3-game set, and I was thrilled to get rid of them. I think I just think they're good, and they're a 9-inning ball club, and when your team is like Reds or my team, and they're not a 9-inning ball club, and so teams that are like they just sort of wear you down. It's almost like they're toying with you,
Yeah.
and then they just get you. One phase of the game just sticks out each time you play them. It's almost like it's a different phase, like hey, it's bullpen one day, and then one day they find holes in your defense, and you don't make enough plays, and it's always something with the Braves. They're always finding your flaw that day, and I think that's what makes them really good. And I think that's probably goes back to Walt Weiss a little bit. I think your point's well taken there. That not only are they a good ball club, but maybe he just knows a little bit. Maybe he's really good at exploiting weaknesses. I thought the Braves were really good at that in that 3-game set, and if
Yep.
that's how they are all the time, they'll beat a lot of people. Any shot, real quickly, any shot for the Brewers to beat the Braves in preparation for a series with the Dodgers, or are they're just not quite there?
I don't think they're quite there yet. Um, they've been on a pretty good hot streak lately. Uh, I think as of today, they're getting ready to lose 2 of 3 to San Francisco, of all people, playing at home. So, um, it's a grind. Uh, Anytime we talk about where teams are at right now, that can all change in a week. One
Right.
injury here, you get on a 4 or 5 game losing streak. A couple of weeks ago, we're talking about San Diego and thinking, hey, they're going to give LA a shot out in the West, and they've lost 5 in a row.
Yeah.
So it's just baseball. We'll probably be having a whole other conversation about several other different teams a month from now,
Yeah.
when it gets closer to the trade deadline and who's buyers, who's sellers, and
Yep.
that's just the way baseball is.
Yep. Trade deadline essentially is 7 weeks away.
Seven.
So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, not. I mean, going to be here before you know it. Those rumblings start late June. The rumblings really ramp up about the All-Star time, but even late
Yes.
June and stuff, those you start to hear those initial conversations, and then by the All-Star break, uh, GMs are the phones are ringing and then the buttons are being pushed. So be interesting to see how that goes in about 7 weeks.
DeRo, who do you
Yeah.
think are 2 or 3 of the top trade pieces right now as far as teams being able to obtain? Who are the
Yeah,
best?
that's a
Who are
great.
the best guys that are going to be out on the trading block?
It would be interesting to see. I think I'm going to go with teams more than I'm going to go with individual players.
Okay.
Like, because the challenge for me and for those owners and GMs is, hey, are we if we're not competing this year, or let me back up. Hey, we're still in the wild card hunt. Okay, that
Right.
maybe that's the conversation in your league in your offices. So their choice at that point is, hey, we add pieces and we try to get over the hump, or we stand pat and just try to go with what we got. Okay. The teams that really intrigue me more are the teams that are going to be clearly out of it. Do they believe in their key pieces going forward to next season? So I think there's some teams, even the Phillies, like if they were to not be in the wild card hunt, are they big time sellers? Because that's what Philadelphia does. They do these whole scale regroups
Right.
often, often. And so, if they potentially drop out of the wild card hunt or something like that, do they automatically are they throwing out big pieces? So I think to your point, I think Philadelphia is an interesting team. If they're not in the wild card hunt, are they selling and who are they selling? Um, I think I'm going to use the Royals as an example. I think they've got some great young prospects that aren't. I don't know that. I don't want to say they haven't reached expectations, but they're just not quite there yet.
Right.
And so do they start? Does a does a team that's in the hunt take a chance on one of your young kids that's maybe underachieving a little bit?
Yeah.
I think the Royals have some guys that sort of maybe fall into that category. Um, I think the Dodgers farm system is always rich and deep, right? And so I think there's teams constantly willing that are out of it that are constantly willing to trade their stars for Dodger prospects. Um, So I think for me, I'm watching the teams that are clearly out of it.
Yeah.
Um, and so, you know,
I think one interesting twist that's going to play a huge part in people's in front offices decisions, if they're going to be buyers or sellers, is the looming uh,
yes,
potential lockout. And guys, I'm telling you, as sure as we're sitting here, it's coming.
yeah,
Um, the owners say they want a salary cap and even a salary floor.
yeah. The
You've got to
floor is the interesting.
maintain. It is. You've got to
Yeah,
maintain between those two, and the players want no part of it, which I get from their standpoint.
right.
Um, they are not going to come to an agreement. I think there's going to be a full scale lockout, and we may even be lucky if there's baseball at all next year. To be honest, I just don't see this being easily resolved and either side budging. Next summer may be a summer without Major League Baseball.
And hey, that's really hard for your small market teams, right? Like your
Absolutely.
Yankees and your Dodgers and even the Cubs to a degree. Like those teams can thrive and hang on. But
Yeah.
but your Minnesotas and your Kansas Cities and Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and those people like Colorado, like those,
Right.
the unknowns of that is really significant for them.
Yeah.
Um, Another team I'm going to throw out there is I think if I were in the hunt, I would start with Boston because they're like the Phillies. If they're not in it,
Yeah.
they do wholesale, they shake it up,
Yeah.
right? And
Sure.
so I bet that they would be willing to give up some of their key pieces for prospects and not think twice,
Yeah.
unload a contract and all those kind of things. So I think Boston could be very active in the
Hmm.
trade deadline market for the wrong reason. Obviously, I think they'll be looking to be sellers, but
Yeah.
yeah, be interesting to see. On the American League side, Tampa Bay and the Yankees are still leading the East. Tampa Bay is 2-8 in their last 10. Just and I just thought about this today. Hey, is this sort of the beginning of the flattening out for Tampa Bay, or hey, are they good enough to bounce and come right back?
I think they're good enough to bounce and come back. Um, Aaron Judge is injured right now. I think that's obviously a huge piece out of the lineup for New York.
Yeah.
Um, I watch Tampa Bay, believe it or not. I watch them quite a bit, generally because in most afternoons, they're the first game that comes on and has a pregame show.
Yep. Yep.
And I want to get my day started off the right way. So I'm usually watching Tampa Bay. It's either Tampa Bay or Boston, whoever they're playing
Yeah.
if they're out on the East Coast. So I watch them quite a bit. They they are just dangerously good.
Yeah.
Their pitchers really struggled this week against Detroit. Detroit played out of their mind. Um, they were God. They were. I think they hit three straight home runs off
Wow.
of one of the starters for Tampa Bay, and it was just pile on time after that. They were able to score a lot of runs. Just had that little streak there where all the bats got hot, and some of Tampa Bay's pitchers were serving up beach balls, and
Right.
it's fun to be had by Detroit. But their pitching staff's too good up and down the line. Um, they've had a few injuries offensively that I think uh, once those once those players are back in the lineup, Simpson is one that's really had a good year. He's batting 280 and um, is probably the leading base stealer in Major League Baseball right now. He's just fun to watch play. I think they'll be okay. New York's going to have their struggles too.
Yeah.
Um, it's going to be interesting that side of the division, um, up and down the line, because Boston's good enough to run it for somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They've got the bits and pieces there. Um, Gosh, I watched them play earlier today, and their starter. I, I, I mean, he was throwing batting practice to Baltimore. So,
Yeah.
um, I think it's just baseball. There's so many ups and downs throughout the season.
Right.
If you're a fan, you can't get too high and you can't get too low because a change is coming.
Yeah.
Whether you want it to or not, it's coming.
Yeah. That's right. It is a long season in baseball. Some series of interest probably coming up this weekend. Just for Missouri teams, Royals play at the Twins. Royals just finished taking 2 out of 3 from Cincinnati in the past few days, so maybe they can go to Minnesota and get 2 out of 3 there and sort of and get right, bounce back a little bit. I'm going to mention the Reds at St. Louis series primarily because one, it's an interdivision matchup, but I think the piece that I find interesting is the Cubs host the Giants also this weekend. Um, if the Cubs sweep, which I think they can, 2 out of 3 should be a given, but they might get all three. Um, and then that Red St. Louis series, if that leans heavy one way in a sweep, the Cubs really separate from one of those teams. So I think the Red St. Louis series is a big one just because of sort of what it represents for the Cubs, because they can go out and win a series this week and let those other two sort of beat up on each other. So another series of interest this week is Red Sox and Yankees. They're not necessarily close in the standings, but it's the Red Sox and the Yankees. So, and that is in New York. So that's kind of a wrap on Major League Baseball. Moving on, we're going to finish our show with Hold'em and Fold'em. We do this every week. I'm going to give you 3 different scenarios tonight. You have to decide whether you're going to hold the premise that I give you or you're going to fold it. Um, 2 of them are pretty straightforward, and then the third one I really like. So we'll start with the straightforward ones and we'll work our way down. Here we go. The NBA Championship Series will go the full 7 games. You going to hold them or fold them?
Fold them.
Yeah.
I think it'll be lucky if this series goes 6, to be honest. And I've kind of felt like that ever since the second round of the playoffs, just really digging in and watching the Knicks play.
Yeah.
Like I said, like we talked about earlier in the show, there's just a lot of, without beating a dead horse, there's just a lot of mismatches, a lot of matchup problems. And I just like the depth and the style that New York plays with.
Yeah. Very good. Second one. It is June the 5th right now. Based on what we know about the Kansas City Chiefs right now on June 5th, which isn't a lot. I mean, in football terms, we don't know much. Okay. But based on what we know right now, and Mahomes up in the air and draft class and those pieces falling into place, on June 5th, the premise is that Kansas City Chiefs are a playoff team this season. You going to hold them or fold them?
I'm going to be hold'em on
Okay.
that. I think obviously with a lot of that's going to depend on Mahomes' recovery from his injury and how
Right.
well he can get back to as close to 100% as he can be. Um, the one thing I really like offensively is they're going to have a running game this year, and to offset, um, what Patrick Mahomes can do, if their receiving core can stay healthy and the defense kind of stay steady Eddie like they have over the past 4 or 5 years, I think they'll be a playoff contender. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. All right. This last one on Hold'em Fold'em. It's got some confusing pieces to it, but I'll try to simplify it as best I can for the viewers out there. I'm going to give you 7 NBA names. You're going to have to hold 5 of them and fold on 2 of them. Okay. And the premise is this: you need to hold the 5 NBA players that you think could lead a team, not not necessarily their team now, but a team to the best 3-year cumulative window. Okay, so we're going to take the next 3 seasons, we're going to add them together. Which of these five could lead their teams to the most wins, and which of these two would you fold on?
Okay.
Okay, not talking about championships or anything like that. We're just going to win games for 3 years.
Right.
Okay, the 7 names are, I'll name them twice so our viewers have a chance: Jalen Brunson, Wemby, SGA, Anthony Edwards, Cooper Flagg, Luca, and Cade Cunningham. Again, Brunson, Wemby, SGA, Anthony Edwards, Cooper Flagg, Luca, and Cade Cunningham. You're going to hold 5 to get you the most wins over the next 3 seasons, and you're going to fold on 2.
Gosh, that's not easy. I'd take all 7.
For sure.
And I mean,
For different reasons. That's the
yeah,
cool part.
absolutely. Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
Got to keep Wemby. I think he's the face of the NBA. You place him on any team in
Okay.
the NBA, he's a difference maker.
All right.
I think Brunson has proven that over the past couple of years.
Okay.
He's just a guy you want leading your team. He can score, he can pass, he plays with a little bit of moxie and a little bit of fire. And when he's right, he's good.
Yeah.
I think he's the type to throw a team on his back and say, "Come on, boys, we're going to go get a dub." So,
Yeah. Yeah.
SGA, I mean, that to me is obvious.
hmm
I think those 3 are where I start.
Okay.
Gosh, boy, it gets tough.
So that
after
leaves us,
this.
just for the viewers, leaves us Anthony Edwards, Cooper Flagg, Luca, and Cade Cunningham. So you got to keep 2 of those and fold on 2 of them.
I'm probably fold him on Edwards, Anthony Edwards.
Okay.
I think his success depends on supporting cast.
Very good.
I don't think he's that lead dog, but he's awfully good if there are good people around him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
He had a chance to be the lead dog this year and kind of faded, just kind of hid in the background a little bit when he really had a chance to be a difference maker, and he didn't do it. I was a little disappointed. I thought he would. He had the opportunity. So he's a fold'em. I'm gonna by process of elimination, I'm just gonna go with another fold'em.
Okay. So it's Flagg, Luca, and Cade Cunningham.
Cade Cunningham. I really like Cunningham.
I do too.
I've got to hold him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already kind of proven that with his short amount of time at Detroit. So he's definitely a hold'em. Oh boy, these last 2, they're both hold'em in my mind, but I know I got to get rid of one of them.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of what I see down the road, I'm going to hold Cooper Flagg.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let Luca go. Just for what I think could happen down the road.
Yeah.
Long term.
Honestly, that would have been my 5 and my 2.
Okay.
As much as Luca's a dude, I mean, like,
yeah,
and no doubt about it. And I'm a little bit like you on Anthony Edwards. Is he a number 1 on a number 1 team type thing? He's a number 1, but is he a number 1 on a really good team? And hey, like, don't get me wrong, he's really, really good. Like you said, there's no bad answer here.
Right.
But just comparing him to the field, I do like some intangibles maybe a little better on the other guys. I'm with you, Cade Cunningham.
Yeah,
I think he's got star written all over him. I think he's a winner. I mean, I think he's legit. So very good. That's how I would have done it. So
excellent. Great minds think alike there, DeRo.
Something like that. So Hey, it's been good, Darren. I've enjoyed talking to you this week. Before I throw it your way, I've never done this before until this show. Uh, I'm going to throw out some people that we've uh, sort of previewed and reviewed over the past 2 or 3 shows, maybe 4 shows. Um, that we like. Honestly, we'd love to hear from you. This is totally
Oh yeah.
random, but we did a little segment on Denny McLain, former pitcher, major league pitcher, last pitcher to win 30 games in the majors. And we talked about him and really painted a great picture of what a great player he was in his short amount of time. We featured Bob Pesty, or I'm sorry, uh, first name's not Bob, Sam Presti.
There you go.
Uh, and then Mike Brown sort of featured him last week. So, hey, I'm just throwing it out there. If anybody's listening that has an in or a contact with any of those 3 people, we would love to hear from you, and we would love to interview you on this show if you had any interest. So, we'd love to tell your story a little more in detail and let it be first person. You get to come on and tell your own story. So, we're going to throw that your way. We've got several viewers right now and several connections, and you never know how that stuff goes. It's a smaller world than you think it is. So, Mike Brown and Mr. Presti and Denny McLain, we'd love to hear from anybody that's connected with those camps at all. We'd love to hear from you. So, Darren, I'm going to throw it to you to kind of close up your portion, and then I'll bring this plane in for a landing.
You bet. As always, we appreciate our listeners and viewers. Uh, Man, the numbers just keep growing, and we truly appreciate your following, watching us every week. Hey, can give us another hand and be sure to join our become followers on Twitter. Our Twitter handles are scrolling on the bottom there with the ticker. Also, go to MissouriSportsNetwork.com for all the latest scores and updates, high school, college, professional sports around the state. And go to our YouTube page, give us a like, subscribe, hit that bell so that anytime On Deck with DeRo and Arch or any of our other shows with the Missouri Sports Network come on, you get notification that there's another show that has been posted. So just really appreciate everybody's following. We love doing this every week. We hope you enjoy listening to it as much as we enjoy doing it. And already looking forward to next week there, DeRo.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. And I concur. Just sort of the things we get to talk about and the people that we sort of get to network with, and then those relationships that we've kind of developed probably through the coaching thing, but that web sort of spreads out. And so this is good stuff. We really enjoy this, and we are encouraging you to sort of be a part of this with us. Throw information and names and stories our way, and we'd love to get the word out. So I'm going to bring it to a close. This is On Deck with DeRo and Arch for Eric DeRosset, or I'm Eric DeRosset, and for Darren Archer. We're going to close this show up, and we will see you next week.
This has been a presentation of the Missouri Sports Network. Thank you for tuning in.